Yeah, welcome to this evening update. Today we are talking about, we're discussing the developments, serious developments in the political scene, as well as the emerging security challenges that we have in the country. First of all, we'll go to Akwa Ibom State, where, of course, as expected, the governor has formally left the PDP, even though the announcement had been made earlier, but it became very official today. And a rally was held in Oyo State where the governor uh, decamped formally or was received in APC by the APC leaders. Uh, Of course, the governor had told his advisors and appointees that whoever was not going to accompany him to APC should leave the party or should resign from his government. And of course, a few people opted to leave the government. According to the reports that we have, are Engineer Eno Ibanga, Commissioner for Works, Honorable Ini Eme Obong, Commissioner for Special Duties and Deep Seaport, and then you have MM Almond Bob, Commissioner of Finance. It might be possible that these people who refuse to follow the governor are supporters or loyalists of the former governor who did not appear at the rally today and is obviously is not decamping to the APC as well. Of course, uh, as with the case of Rivers State, where the governor the governor is at odds with his godfather, the minister of FCT who brought him to power. In this case, again, we've had a governor who has decided to part ways with his godfather, the person who made it possible for him to become the governor of the state. And so it is not clear what is going to happen in Akwa Ibom State. But over the years, Akwa Ibom State has been one of the few states that have consistently voted for the People's Democratic Party. It is yet to be known whether there will be any change now that the governor has defected to the APC. The first time that a governor who is not bearing the flag of the PDP will be sitting in government house in Uyo, the capital of Akwa Ibom State. Well, that was not the only uh, political news that came up yesterday. It became clear that the politicians, mainly from PDP and some people from APC who had been dissatisfied with the PDP and with the APC, decided not to join an existing political party. They have decided to form their political party. And so a new political party, they are seeking for the approval of the INEC, that is the Electoral Commission, to have a new political party. Uh, Among the people who are who are in the new party are Atiku, that is the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and former Governor of Kaduna State, El Rufai Nasiru. It will be interesting that these two are working together, because when El Rufai was brought in to become a minister, he raised some allegations against the former vice president, who was president, and that created a row at the National Assembly. But in any case, politics, they say, is about interest, not about individual preferences. So people go to where they want to go. The formation of the party, according to the Punch newspaper, is backed by key political heavyweights, including former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi, Umar Ardo, the convener of the League of Northern Democrats, and also a former aide to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And according to the Punch, they are seeking to capitalize on the increasing disenchantment with the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ride into power. And of course, they sent a letter. Let's look at a copy of the letter. The letter, All Democratic Alliance, to the chairman of the Independent National Commission. I think there's a mistake there. I don't think that is independent, and I don't know, Independent National Commission, INEC. And letter was the letter submitted to INEC the party logo, the manifesto, and constitution. The letter was signed by one Chief Akin Ricketts, Protein National Chairman, and Honorable Abdullahi Musa Elayo, a lawyer, a former member of National Assembly, and indeed the first chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business in 1999, when the current National Assembly started operation. Well, for now, it is very obvious that nobody can tell the fate of the PDP. Whether PDP will still be there or not is not what we can say, because there are those who have already pledged support for the presidential ambition of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and this include and are led by the FCT minister, former Governor Nyesom Ezenwo Wike, and the members of his team include former PDP governors of Enugu, Benue, and Enugu State. And of course, there are a lot of people who are disenchanted with the PDP. And a meeting was held recently, hosted by the minister, in which some conditions were given for peace in the party. This included the acceptance of Senator Samuel Anyao as the national secretary of the party, and the zoning of the presidential ticket to the south. And the question now is, what happens if the new party also zones its presidential candidate to the south? What is going to happen? Well, politics is an evolving game. We'll wait to see what is going to happen. And now, back to bad news. As earlier today, we had two very bad news. The first one was from Plateau State, where uh, a, a bus carrying some people. Sorry, that is not the story. Uh, okay, very good. Yeah, a story that was reported by Punch concerning Plateau State. A bus that was carrying some people who were said to be going for a wedding. According to the report, no fewer than 12 travelers from Basawa community in Zaria, Kaduna State, were killed during an attack in Mangu, Plateau State, on Friday. That was yesterday, but just got to know about it today. They say a group of 31 men and women and children were traveling an 18 seater bus belonging to AB Zaria, and they were attacked, and
There
several
is a new
people
celebrity in
were
town,
killed.
and it's
Very
none other than
unfortunate
Labubu.
that
I
happened,
know
but
it's not a dance star or an
Mangu has
attire.
been the
It
scene
is
of
a
several
doll that
killings
just
and
sits
attacks.
wide-eyed with a
And
mischievous smile
of
and
course, not
snuggles sweet to
just
prey. So what is
Mangu,
behind the
it
doll?
is it has become a normal, I mean, a practice in Nigeria that people dissatisfied with certain things that are happening want to
Yeah,
seek redress
because
by
today is the day of the people.
taking
Because democracy is
uh,
centered for the people.
the law into
Normally,
their
the
hands,
definition
trying
is an
to
issue that
seek
has to do with the
redress.
people's decision
And
on
a
it.
lot of
And the
times that
people are
has
saying that the
often
parameters
happened,
subjecting the government
innocent
have been put to
people
test.
are
And the
killed
opinion pool of
and not
Nigeria.
the victims that get killed. Now we'll go back, we'll go to a major story that took place about what has taken place today. Uh, you recall that the president went to uh, Benue State to commensurate with the people and gave direct order that nothing should happen. Well, as is often the case, immediately the president left, armed men stormed a village, the the hometown of the uh, secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator Akume. According to the newspaper report, many feared killed as suspected herdsmen attacked SGF Akume's village after Tinubu's visit. It's like this is a wake up call. It does appear that the people who are attacking in the name of herdsmen do not hear any language of peace. And it's a wake up call to the government. But the major story today is the attack that took place in Borno State, the killing by bomb of several people in by a bomb blast in uh, Borno State, and the vice president has quickly uh, gone to issue a statement to commensurate with the people who were attacked and killed by the bomb blast. Uh, can see on the screen that the vice president has quickly gone to send a message to commensurate with the people who were killed by the bomb blast that took place, a suicide bomb blast that killed 12 people. Several newspapers have reported that the suicide bomber, possibly a female, went to a, a market at Konduga in Borno State and ignited the bomb that killed 12 people and left 16 people seriously injured. The executive chairman of the local government attended the funeral service. But the question to ask is, why are we having a resurgence of Boko Haram attacks using bombs? What is actually happening? Uh, if we look at the statistics that we have from January to date, we've had several attacks by ISWAP or Boko Haram, which are using, with these groups, they're using bombs to kill people. And people are killed on the road. Even military people are also killed. If you On January 14, 2025, at Dumba Kukawa, the farmers officials ran about, the terrorists attacked and killed 40 civilians. On that same January 26, at Malam Fatori, a convoy of troops had AID planted on their path, and there were reports that up to 27 soldiers and the bomber were killed and so many others wounded. In March, at Wajirko and Wulgo army bases, there were raids that were said to have been conducted by these outlaws. That same March 25th, at Damboa and Gamboru Ongala, army bases had landmines placed on them, and some soldiers were said to have been killed. In April, at Konduga, we had a vehicle that had an IED, that is, improvised explosive device, placed on its path that killed about 8 civilians and 21 others who were injured. Meduguri Damboa Road recently, that was in May, we had an IED blast that killed 26 people. Uh, that same May, at Malam Karamti Kwatandashi, villagers were said to have been rounded up and killed. 57 bodies were said to have been recovered. And in May last month, at Miduguri Ngala, there was also another IED. 26 civilians were casualties. On May 30th, just about 2 weeks ago, at Bita, it's unclear, there was another IED, and that is improvised explosive device, and 9 civilians were said to have been killed. The question to ask, is there an upsurge in the attacks by these people? Well, if you look at all the data, it's quite frightening. We've had at least, nearly or over 225 civilians and soldiers killed just from January to May this year in that region. And the key bombing methods are roadside IEDs, improvised explosive devices that are targeting civilians, buses, travelers, and suicide bombers like the one that took place today. And these people have also targeted army bases and convoys. And well, these are the ones that have been reported. Nobody knows how many have not been reported. The question then becomes very serious. What is motivating these attacks that we're receiving? Is there a resurgence? Are things increasing? Are these attacks going to increase? There are some people who believe that these attacks are heightening because of the fact that we're approaching an election period. Their argument is that these attacks pre- preceded the 2015 elections that saw to the defeat of President Goodluck Jonathan. And in the argument, it is it in the argument, these attacks are targeted at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's uh, second term tenure. Well, that is one flavor of the political argument. The second flavor of the political argument is that from the opponents of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that the president is not paying enough attention to security matters. And they also insist that the president may have overloaded the security agencies with too many of his tribesmen to the extent that he might not be able to hear or know the things that are happening. Either ways, the fact of the matter for me is that these two strands of arguments miss the point. The point is that if these attacks are not taken care of, and if we continue to if we continue to insist that these attacks are political and they will just go away once the political issues are resolved. We may wake up one day and find that we do not have a country. The reason is that as more people run away from the rural areas, those areas become staging spots, ungoverned spaces, where these violent outlaws will multiply. It is often mistaken, and even some senior security personnel seem to believe that, and I think very wrongly, that these outlaws do not have a political ideology, that they are just acting just for the sake of criminality. Of course, while intellectually and historically such postulations miss the point and are actually infantile, because there is uh, i- criminality fuels uh, insurgency, and insurgency also has a very serious impact on criminality. Sometimes when you want to separate them, you run into a problem. And in any case, it's very easy for these violent outlaws to have ideologies or to be influenced by people from outside. And in any case, most of the time, majority of fighters do not even understand the ideologies they are fighting for. They just need one or two people who have a reason to use them to achieve ideological objectives. And so it's a mistake to uh, take this security challenge as something that is normal, political, and it will go away. If we look at the map of Nigeria today, the way it is, if you check the areas that are affected by this insurgency, from Kwara, Niger State, to Kogi and Edo State, up to Kaduna State, and the whole of the Northwest, Benue State, Plateau, Nasarawa, Taraba, and several other places in the Northeast, you will discover that these outlaws are increasingly taking under their control more territories. And the fact that they are having more territories, and the fact that, as the reports have indicated, or in some areas, they even provide services that ought to have been provided by government, means that the allegiance of people in those communities may begin to go to those violent outlaws. And the result of it will be catastrophic for the country. And that may easily happen once they have people who will come from outside or from anywhere to give those young people a reason to keep fighting. This is update. If you if you are enjoying our content, please share with other people. Subscribe to our channel, and if you have comments, we will welcome your comments on our Facebook or YouTube channels. We'll be publishing them, or they automatically publish, and we'll be engaging with whatever comments that you have. Once again, my name is Rumande Shaulu. This is Update for today.